You the one who left footprints all over my car? How's it going, YouTube? Went on a hiatus as I normally do. Let's step over here into the shadows. As you can tell from the leaf fall all over the ground, it's winter. It's January 6th now. Been quite a while since I've actually done recording for YouTube, any kind of vlog or anything like that. A lot has happened. Been an extremely busy summer and fall. So I'm not sure if I'll break this into multiple videos or just kind of give you the full rundown of everything in one video. Let's just go ahead and play around. Walk over here real quick so you can kind of see. We are currently back at it again with attacking our property to reclaim it. Step over here. The goal is at one point in time before the tornado hit our house, there used to be a garage back here, and basically we want to get this cleared out again. we let it get away from us. We were out of the house for quite a while after the tornado hit, and kind of all this overgrowth happened because the whole summer passed. And you kind of see, where is it at? There's a line here somewhere. So that's the start of the garage, and it goes pretty far back. It's been a minute, so I don't truly remember. I think that post is the back wall. No, the next post back, you probably can't even see it. There's two posts, one closer, one further. Further one is the back wall. It was only a single car width. You kind of see where that post is there in the fence line, and it was here. Anyways, this is where I kept the projects when I was working on them back in 2010, 2011. At the time, it was motorcycles. So I had the XS400, the CBR, and then we had gotten the what we called the Bio Ninja, which was an XS or EX500 Ninja, and some of that was worked in back here. Then after the tornado hit, it was finished off in the carport. But the goal is to get this all cleared out again, so that we can get a 2-car garage with an awning off the side to start putting things back here. Because the carport I have is just not big enough. You can kind of see the Viper. So basically, so we can get back into being a little more organized. The Viper is up on the lift in the garage again because it's not broken. I mean, it is broken, but it's not broken. Body panels need some love. So we'll go ahead and step into that. I was actually going to do a video on this anyways. So on the 1-year anniversary of owning the Viper, I took the Viper out to autocross at the Cherry Point Air Station over in the Havelock. So it's like about an hour from here. I put new BC coilovers on it and left them stock, basically how they came. And it sits real low, looks nice, but I have 3 inches of ground clearance on the front from the splitter. Overall, hasn't been too bad. Just, be real cautious, being nice, going over speed bumps. I try to avoid all of those as possible. And then backing out of the driveway, it's a little bit angle. I kind of scrubbed the rear diffuser a little bit. Nothing major, but a little scrub. But the car, if you hit a couple bumps, you would and you'd hear the fender liners being scrubbed on. Nothing too major. That's just light bumps. Never actually hit a hard enough bump because I know the area I'm driving in. Anyways, make my way out there for autocross in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. Stop at a gas station to fill up before the day. That way I have a full tank of fuel for the track. And GPS tells me to continue on. The easiest thing to do is either pull back out of the gas station and drive a couple miles up the road to make a U-turn on the highway, because it's a divided highway, or I could just loop through this little back neighborhood and come right back out. Saves me like, I don't know, 5 minutes or something. It's a little back neighborhood. That's not too bad. It's 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, so I'm being real quiet. Car's not exactly a quiet car, so real low. I think I was in second or third gear. I think it was the second gear, just real smooth. Wasn't doing more than like 25, 30. It's basically a loop around neighborhood, so you got street. And as I'm coming down, I can see like this little, you can tell it's a bridge, but it's like one that's even with the rest of the pavement. And come over the edge of it, and you can't see it because it's dark. But on the other side, where the edge of the concrete, because it's pavement over top of concrete, where the edge of the concrete from the bridge stops at, it's washed out. It's not actually washed out, but you can tell where the pavement is sinking from the washout underneath it. So it's a big dip, and then immediately after that dip is I guess it's like a little, not a manhole cover, but it's like a little cover for water. So it's again one of those little, like, I don't know, 5-inch, 6-inch little plates. That dips down too, so it's like a drop off, like a 3-inch drop off, maybe a little bit more, and then immediately a dip in the road. So I came over that at 25 miles an hour, and it goes slam because of the drop, which kind of makes the suspension bottom out, and immediately follows that up with dipping into the ditch that is the little water access port. And it just slams the whole bottom end. The tire goes into that little rut. When it does, it slams the splitter onto the ground, takes a chunk out of it, not enough to actually destroy it, but just like hit it hard, rip the bolts out. One was just smashed up into the splitter, and the other one was bent. Left it there the rest of the day. But when it slammed down in the rear following that, it literally snatched out the passenger side rear fender liner, just ripped it out and wrapped it around the tire. So I'm now basically immediately stopping because I just hear it. I knew it was bad. Let's get out, check. It's stuck. I can't get it to come out, so I need to get to a spot where there's light. So I noticed there's like a little Napa Auto Parts right at the end of this little stretch. So I drive, like 10, 15 miles an hour, if that, into that parking lot and get out and basically rip out the fender liner, because it was already ripped off anyways. It's actually not in too bad a shape, just the bolt hole's kind of ripped off. It's an easy patch job, no big deal there. Didn't see anything other than that. Like, I could tell where the splitter had been hit hard and the fender liner ripped out, but didn't see any other damage. Seemed like it was fine. Went out, nerves just shot from that. I honestly thought I was gonna have to basically call a tow truck to take me all the way back home because I couldn't get the fender liner out at first. Finally got it out, finished driving, and so it just nerves shot the whole rest of the day. Do autocross. Did okay. I wasn't top or anything like that. I held first. I was wave number 2, and then there was a wave after me. I held first up until like the last 3 cars. And then ultimately, I was like, I'll have to put it up there. I was like, I can't remember, it was like 5th or 6th or something. But like, one of my second to last passes, I ended up locking the brakes. I didn't get my fastest pass on video, but I'll go throw the video up of one of my okay passes. I think it was my second pass ever. I've never done autocross. I've never raced this car. Hell, I've never raced any other car other than some street racing, which is not even really a whole lot of that. So my experience is none. Do the autocross, come back home, and I noticed while I was doing my laps after the car would get warm, the power steering was really whining. Again, I've never really gotten hard into this car. It's just basically, a couple hard pulls on the road, taking corners, an okay pace. Nothing actually racing. But as I'm coming off and finishing the laps, as I'm pulling into my spot to reset, I can hear the power steering whining. End of the day, hop in the car, start it up, get all the thing all packed up, and go to leave. And it seems fine. But I don't really have too many actual turns the whole way out coming home. Decide to stop at Sonic on the way, and as I'm pulling into Sonic, it's just god awful loud. It's loud as it's been. It never even been even close. It's ear piercing loud. By the time I make it out of Sonic, which is at the end of my road, and make it to my house, my power steering's gone. All the fluid had leaked out. I'm literally manhandling it into the driveway, and very next day, pop the hood, and sure as hell, on the steering rack, there's fluid transfer lines on each side of, I don't know what the components are called, but basically, when you turn your wheel and it basically turns it to the one side, it pushes it over, it transfers the fluid over to the other side. Well, one of those lines, the flare just from the impact on the ground snapped it, and by the end of the day I had leaked out all the fluid and I had nothing. This isn't just a part you can buy. The only way to get this part is basically either make it yourself, hope you can find someone that can do it for you, or buy a whole steering rack, which is like $1,000 or something. Not buying a whole steering rack just for one line. Tried finding a source that would basically I could buy the line from, and ended up doing the flare myself, and bingo, good to go. So got that taken care of. Still haven't done the fender liner. That's because I got other things going on. About 3 weeks later, Lauren and I are driving around in the car, hit a little dip in the road, kind of hear it, crap. What was that? It sounded louder than the impact on the actual road. It was a little dip, it was nothing. Get to where we're going, park the car, and fender's cracked. Fenders were already cracked in 2 spots prior, but I had patched them. And now there was a whole new crack. And it definitely wasn't from that little bump in the road. I just heard something extra with the bump, and that's what it was, is the panel had finally cracked. And it was most likely from that impact. It snatched out the fender liner on the other side, but what happened was when it hit on the driver's side, it snatched the fender liner and cracked it, but it didn't actually finish pulling through until that little bump finished it off. So that's going to lead into another video. I'm going to keep going on with the Viper since we're already on that subject. Prior to that, I didn't think I was going to make the autocross, which was the last one of the year. Originally, it was thought it was going to be the last one, period. But turns out they managed to get staffing figured out for it, and everything's good to go. Looks like we're going to have autocross this year. Beautiful. The other thing that happened was my radiator leaked. Not involved in this. This was prior to all that. This is why I didn't think I was going to make autocross. I think it was August or early September. I can't remember exactly. The radiator that was in the car, which was an aftermarket aluminum radiator, had sprung a leak in 3 spots just out of the blue. Try to call around a couple places. Most places don't even want to touch it. I should have got a hold of more welding shops, but I decided ultimately, fuck it, I'm just gonna replace it. Get a hold of Row Racing and order one. Ends up being a thing where the radiator can't be made in time or made quick enough because the core for the radiator is on national back order. So I feel like it took 2 months. I'll have to look at the number. It may have ended up being like a month, but it took quite a while, to the point where I did not think I was gonna make autocross. Got that replaced. New HPS, I think is what it is. HPS blue hoses on it. So all that's been taken care of. Just little things. Since then, actually just like a week ago, Me and Lauren were out in the Viper, which doesn't happen very often. It's very rare. My son has been in the car more than my wife has. We're coming through, and I decided, hey, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna do a pull. Drop down the second, punch it, hit 120, and all of a sudden you're I have an APR splitter, and I don't know if all their splitters are this way, but I'm gonna tell you, this one for the Vipers is not of a good quality. I think the air dam's probably better just because of where it sits at, but the actual splitter being used as a splitter does not work. I hit 120, and I'm sure it probably has more to do with the impact that happened before autocross, but when I hit 120, the way the splitter's set up is there's like, I'm not sure what the bottom material is, but in between it's some kind of honeycomb layer, and then the top is the actual carbon fiber. It ripped the splitter rod through the bottom up into the carbon fiber. Like the carbon fiber portion caught it, but that's a ½ inch, so it lifted a ½ inch, and that ½ inch was enough to make the splitter do this. And as it did, it kind of kept jerking down, and it literally rubbed a whole section. I'm gonna have to be real careful about how I did this, I don't want to reveal some other stuff, but the whole splitter was bouncing, and when it bounced, it was hitting the ground at the same time, and actually ground down the lower portion of the splitter. Sure how well you can see that, but you can see where it basically it ground it, and if you look, you can see where it pulled through. That one didn't pull through all the way, but that one pulled through all the way. So the splitter's pretty beat up. It's salvageable though, so I'm not stressing it. But all of this has led into doing something else I've kind of wanted to do for a while. I mean, I've only owned the car for a year, but it's been on my mind the whole time. There's some other little imperfections that need to be taken care of, and doing what I want to do is going to handle all of them at once. So I'll let you guys in on that later, another video.